DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
We're live.
We're live.
I didn't get the countdown at all, Chris.
Oh, hang on a second.
Camera.
5, 4.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for taking time out of your Monday evening to join John, Shani, and myself. It's a pleasure to be able to come to you guys tonight and have some fun with you, make some laughs in a time where I think we're all feeling a little bit stressed, and that's what a lot of us were talking about beforehand. It's a stressful time. It is. There's nothing way around it. But tonight, we're going to throw in some humor. We're going to throw some knowledge at you. And if nothing else comes out of it tonight, you need to smile at least one time because Shani's with us. See? Perfect. Night's made. Let's go, John.
We're done.
I'm just gonna say like this. You don't even have to freeze me. Just let it go.
That'll work. So tonight, I'm going to kind of dig into. We've been talking about how to getting started. Where we talked music, we talked a little bit about gear last week of what you need to get started, kind of the basics. And tonight, I want to kind of dig into a little bit of the getting your name out there, because everybody has done this at certain levels, depending upon when you were in this industry. I've been in this for a long time, so I used to spend tens of thousands of dollars a year on Yellow Pages ads to get the word out and get the name out. And things have changed since then a lot. Then we add in the situations of this year. That has changed things an awful lot. So really what we're going to do tonight is have kind of a discussion on how, with this way things are today, how you can get your name out there to people who will become decision makers in the future. We hope.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
everybody's saying hi in the chat.
Chats are going. So excellent. Yep, thank you guys. The numbers are coming up. Yay. So Dan, when you first started, you decided you wanted to be a wedding DJ. You wanted to go out there and rock as many parties as possible. What was your first or early ways of trying to get your name out there to people who might be able to hire you?
So I started everything extremely slow. Like my business, I didn't jump in it with the idea of taking as many as I could. It was an idea that I think secondhand I was just going to be I was just going to take them when I got them. Like my focus was actually more on being a radio DJ. And as I got into it and I started doing some things from my college, I ended up finding like my first wedding was somebody from the college, and it was like, all right, great. And then I would do it here and there. And it was kind of like, I didn't really put my name out too much. I kind of was more like letting them come to me. Mm-hmm. But when I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to start stepping it up. I did like you, John. I had the name of I bought a business line so that I could have my name in the photo or in the phone book. And I think I paid to have it bolded. Ooh. Because I was not making enough to have the ad. I just made it bold so it would stand out just a little bit. And then, that was like $8,000 a year. Not quite, but it was expensive enough for just bolding it. It's like, come on, it's not using that much ink. But no, it was one of those things where that was my start. Mm-hmm. That was where I started. And then it progressed to, I need to have a website. And having a website everybody's gonna find me now because I have a website. That was all it took. And from there I got into some wedding shows. And so little by little, but when I finally really started deciding I was going to take it serious, for lack of better terms, it came down to making those connections. We kind of alluded to already. It's, making connections with some photographers, making some connections with some venues to go, this guy might actually know what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. So you started out kind of networking with kids, with fellow students in college, went into doing some advertising and such, and then got into networking with other professionals. Okay, we'll put a pin on that right there. Shani, you do a lot of corporate events. That's been kind of a big part of that. What kind of has been a driving force behind those corporate events to continue to feed that part of the business over the years?
Well, now with corporate, it's basically word of mouth and our promos of people seeing what we do at the corporate and seeing all the different types of promos of, this is how we run the behind the scenes at the corporate conferences. This is how we run on site at the corporate conferences. This is how we can get your business solutions done at the corporate conferences. So it was like all different parts of once we got our foot through the door with like one big Fortune 500 company, it was kind of like, okay, let's just slam a whole promo together with the different things that we do for that company and blast it and spend money and blast it everywhere.
Sure.
So all these other companies could see that want that Tony Robbins effect, that want to, keep their employees happy and see and keep them motivated for the 3 days that they're going to conferences for like 18 hours a day. And, and it's fun, to keep it fun. So we really blast that in like the corporate world of doing that. Whereas in the social end of it, we were putting ads in like the neighborhood papers, of doing that, because we're like, well, we can't do the corporate end in neighborhood papers because that's, we don't want to do that. But for our social end, we're like, okay, let's do it in those neighborhood papers that go to like these different groups of like the northwest suburbs and then the north suburbs and the south suburbs. And, and let's kind of do that because we figured back then we're not going to put it in like the big Chicago papers, but we are, because most people kind of look at their neighborhood stuff better. So I was after the whole phone book era when I was doing it. So I wasn't in that era, but I was in like, okay, let's do it in the neighborhood papers and, and let's kind of do it on the website and let's do this and let's blast everybody like, go to our website and look at this. Cause that was like how it used to be back then, was always like, go to the website and look at what we can offer you. And here's our phone number and call us now. And, we even had like an 800 number.
Oh yeah.
Like, here's an 800 number that you could call us toll free.
You don't have to pay.
We're cool.
So let's jump back to the corporate thing just a little bit. When you mentioned, of course, you guys are putting together the promos. Is word of mouth at that level of events, is word of mouth from one corporation to another or one HR person to another? Does that even happen at that level, or is it just really?
Yes, it definitely does in the HR part of it. It definitely happens that way, or people kind of see what we do and what we can, or even like kind of like what Dan was saying, the venue would be like, those type of big venues that can handle 1,000 people staying there at the hotel and having the big ballroom and the breakout rooms and this and that and all that stuff going. They don't just have that corporate, event going on. They have others throughout the whole year. So now all of a sudden, as much as, they don't want an outside source and they want to use PSAV, which is like 18 times more expensive than us. Yep. And 18 times more unprofessional as us, but they still will see what we can do and how we work well with them, and they'll be like, hey, we've used this company here, maybe look into them. So that kind of helps out too. And it's always weird whenever we're doing our setups, which is like all day. It's basically like a 10 to 12 hour setup. There's always, and maybe even see this like when you're doing like wedding setups, maybe sometimes, but there's always somebody from the catering department showing the rooms to a corporate client, like while we're setting up too. So that kind of helps out as well. As I think there's been times where there's been like 2 and 3, like corporate events of they're like, oh, don't mind us, we're just showing the room. We're like, oh, that's okay, and then all of a sudden like we change the AV screen to like our logo, and like things like that. We start doing sound checks on all the mics, even though like it's not even time for sound checks on the mics, and we're like saying our name and everything. We're not even saying, usually we'll say like the event name and everything, but we start like doing like self-promotion while they're there, and we're and we're smiling at them. We're walking around like, hey, yeah, move that to the left, even though like it doesn't need to be moved to the left, and the guys are looking at you like, move it to the left, and you're like winking at them. So that definitely, I've noticed, even helps out a lot as well. Then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we were doing a site inspection to see if we wanted to use this ballroom, and you were there setting up. Oh yeah, I remember you. Hey, what can can you do this? Can you? Oh yeah, we could do that, we could do this. So that definitely helped out as well too.
Sure, that experience of seeing Yeah, I've had that at weddings or with weddings many a times at the old Holiday Inn. That worked well. Definitely worked well. So networking is certainly possible, and it works in both areas. Probably more so with more friend requests, as where Dan was kind of, with other business making a recommendation, whereas the hotel is pretty much the primary one with what Shani's talking business-wise. Take that. How has that changed? Those things changed now as we've come through this 2020 situation. What kind of, if we're going to compare and contrast of what we were able to do in regards to building those relationships, Dan, in your situation with other vendors, and Shani, utilizing some of those things that you were talking about with the corporate world and filling that hopper for the future. How did 2020 change that, and what's kind of the plan to fix that, I suppose?
I think at least within the wedding world and what I'm doing, I almost feel like it's ramped it up a little bit more. The connections that I've made with the wedding vendors that I work with, for whatever reason this year, I felt a tighter connection. And I think some of it is this philosophy of, we're all in this together. We've all had this crappy year. Like we're all figuring out our way to get through this. And so as a result, as things have started to open up, the ones that I've worked with, we've really worked well together. Like I've been very blessed this year. I cannot think of an event that I've had since things opened in July where I had to go, oh my gosh, I hope I never work with that person again. Like there's been none of that. And I think it's, everybody coming alongside each other and helping each out. But then in addition to that, I've had photographers, sharing photos before I ever asked, like tagging my social media, and making sure that we're in there where, that's been done in the past, but it's kind of been like, like every fourth wedding, I'll get a good tag. Or I'll get the gallery share and I'll get another tag after it. Like, you get the initial one. Hey, it was so great working with blah, 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 blah. But when they do it like 3 weeks later, when the gallery comes out and they're like, yeah, and by the way, this is who it was. I'm getting more of those happening this year. And so definitely feel like it's just from the social media aspect and that networking together, it's come to a higher level. And maybe because there's not as many of events, so they're able to be more purposeful.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
As to why. So.
Okay, Shani, obviously corporate stuff has been completely off the books this year. What kind of things are they doing back in the office to deal with that?
The big events, of course, completely canceled. They've already given us our 2021 dates. So they're hopeful that 2021, and by 2021 dates, I mean dates that are starting like May. Mm-hmm. Not even, because for me, corporate used to be huge January, February, March.
Yeah,
because that was the beginning of the quarter for people. So it was like, for me, every quarter was big with the conferences. So at least I'm hopeful that they're hopeful that even though they canceled the 2020, they're already giving us like the prospective 2021 dates. And as far as the smaller ones, everything's virtual right now. So we're just running on the virtual side, and I don't post that because I cannot post any of that stuff because of privacy of my clients. And anybody has ever seen any of even my social posts, I usually just either post my setup or I'm posting like a selfie of me and I blur out people in the background because I don't even post stuff for my social stuff.
Right.
But for corporate, yeah, we've just, and I mean, they're smaller. They're even like, we're not even doing like breakout rooms for them or anything like that because they don't even have the budget right now because they're not making the money they were making to push them. Like that was the conference. The conference was trying to push them to make more money and things like that. So it's like, it's just like that big circle. So we're doing really virtual stuff for them and it's very small virtual things, but at least we're doing it and they're doing it. A lot of the other very, very small ones that we used to do, like the 1 day conferences that were either for me that were locally or in like Wisconsin or Indiana, stuff like that I drove to. they're not even doing it. They're just literally doing it in their office, like in their boardroom, or they're doing it through Zoom. And it's just them kind of like, okay, let's have everybody here. Let's, take a break for lunch and come back. And they're just kind of running it because they just don't have the budget and they just don't want to take the time. So as far as the corporate stuff, that was a major loss for us. Like, I don't even want to give you guys the number because the number would make you sick. But that was a major loss. But I'm going to be honest. I see, even if things do get better for the world, I kind of see corporate kind of staying with that virtual look for a good while. I don't see them going back to that whole Tony Robbins, everybody, 1,000 people in a ballroom and breakout rooms and 18-hour days. I would love to see that again, even though I always complained and you guys always had me in the hotel rooms eating my dinner while I was like doing it and everything. But I kind of see it for that world staying virtual for a good while, even when things get back to normal, because for them, it's going to, just like us, it's going to take a while for them to get back into their normal. But the one day stuff, yeah, I definitely see that. Maybe the smaller ones getting back as soon as the numbers for live events go into, like, you can have this many people in a ballroom and you could do this and we could, you don't need to be 6 feet apart and things like that. So I kind of see that. I don't know where people's budgets are going to be. It's probably going to maybe a smaller budget for me, instead of doing maybe like two screens, maybe just like one screen, smaller things, instead of having like to choose from like 3 labs and countrymen. Maybe like I just give them like one package of, you get 3 mics and 1 podium and a lab. Like that's
We're just gonna shotgun you from the back of the room. Right. Microphone, like pick you up like they do at the NFL game.
So I
see, up there, it'll be fine.
I see them saying now, like, this is our budget. What can you work with to get us looking nice for the conference and working with the budget? So I kind of see that, where we're not bringing like the big guns anymore and things like that. So it kind of sucks in that world that I don't see it getting back to the live events as before social at all.
So the events that you guys are, the companies you're working with now, some of those companies are ones that were doing bigger events in the past, and you are still working with them, but at a smaller scale.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of them, I was, different in the different regions, doing 3, 4, 5 events a year for them. They could be the big events or the one-day event that they would just fly me in for. So it was different events for, depending on in the quarters, what like, okay, this is the big banquet that we're giving out the Rolex watches and the cars and things like that. Okay, this is just the event to push everybody to make more money. So I don't see us doing the day really events anymore, and the bigger events I think are going to be scaled down.
Yeah, that's unfortunately how things are going to be. But I think the idea that you guys are still in contact, or you're still working with some of these companies, instead of, I've had people talking, it's like, well, I used to do this event, this big holiday party. Cubby even mentioned he has one corporate event here this winter. Many people had a dozen, and they're like, yeah, they're all gone. And it's like, yeah, in some markets they're going to be gone completely because you can't do anything. But there might be something that's like you're saying, is maybe a one day helping them with the Zoom meeting or what have you, because of having some skills and abilities that they may not have.
Yeah, definitely on that end of the conference end of it, I definitely see that staying virtual. As far as like the corporate parties and things like that, all of those for us are completely done. And I mean, in our area, we're basically done for 2020. We've been done for 2020. I've only done 2 events since March. One event was the charity event that I did last Monday for the inner city youth kids. And the other one, I did a big Indian wedding, which was very different for me. It was my very first Indian wedding that I did with a company, and I was the DJ, and that was very interesting for me. But we were like in the boonies of Chicago, and it was like in that one area where they didn't get shut down yet for numbers and things like that. But as far as everything else for me here, it's social, corporate, everything. People are starting to cancel January and February and March already by us. They just don't see it happening socially. for parties and events.
So one thing I would throw out, and there's a guy in New York, up in the Ithaca area of New York, Chris Washburn. If you guys haven't heard of him or seen him, fantastic guy to talk to and hang out with and things like that. He's really made a go of, from the corporate parties, he's made a go of his virtual corporate parties. And he's been having them and really working with them and making them go to the point that he was doing some national, like almost like Comic-Con, like they were doing those kind of things like virtually, and he was like the opening, and he was like spinning for that, and then they'd have the speakers come on and do it. So so some of the ones that I think obviously your companies are going to scale back, but what would be needed for a party like that has a lower cost threshold. And so, because I mean, really, you're paying for the DJ, you're paying for a Zoom that you probably already have for all of your meetings, and able to kind of incorporate that and give kind of some upbeat. So there might be some possibilities, if you haven't thought about doing that, of approaching that for this winter season, to still have something out there.
But also remember, if you're doing that and you're doing the whole event, you're in charge of the Zoom, you're in charge of the live streams, you're in charge of all the OBSs and stuff like that. Your client is not.
Correct.
So like you're running all of that. So make sure that you know about all the different streaming stuff to do that. I mean, if he was just doing the DJ part and then he logged off, that's awesome. Like that's great that he can do things like that. But also remember, like for those corporate conferences, you have to have a team like that is running multiple laptops, making sure speakers, like all of it, like it's work, guys. Like if those that have been with us with DJNTV and heard me talk about the corporate stuff, knowing the hours that I put in physically being there, I kind of think it's more work, putting it like virtually together than it is. At least there I can like yell at the text, like, now move the pipe and drape to the left. And, and as I sit there and I just like, drink my Sprite while I'm sitting in the back and everything. But yeah, like you have to be on your ball, because if something happens virtually, that's on you. So you have to make sure like you get the right stuff. If you're going to do it on that type of level, you make sure you have the right equipment, you make sure you have the right, the right programs, the right everything. And yeah, you can definitely make some good money doing that kind of stuff. Because right now the live streaming for events is the way to go, whether it's ceremony stuff for weddings, whether it's ceremony stuff for social stuff, whether it's like, DJing before an event for somebody, or setting up like a comedy show for somebody that my friend's been doing like every week. He's running for the university, doing a whole big comedy thing, so that kind of stuff. Like you just have to make sure you know what you're doing, or you have a team that knows what you're doing and you do the work for it.
Yeah, let me just clarify. I was just talking about like your local holiday parties that you typically do. I'm not talking the massive thing.
Oh, see, when I think corporate, I don't think like social.
No,
events.
that's why. Well, that's why I was saying about like the holiday. Now he's been doing some stuff on the bigger one, and he's got it worked out. But he's been doing it pretty much since.
So he's been doing social corporate events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
He's been
Good
doing
for him.
like all sorts, because some of these companies are still wanting to have something to raise morale. So it's not an all day type of conference, but it's a listen, we're gonna get a group on here for 2 hours and we're just gonna have some fun. And he's developed this way to have this virtual dance party, and he goes all out for it.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's definitely not a corporate like 18-hour day type of conference. Yeah. But it's a feel good type of moment for a company. And then for some of us that are not to that scale, you could still, again, make sure you have the proper equipment and doing all the things you need to do. But your local companies that typically hired you for something around the holidays, they still might be willing to do something. If you can,
market it. Like if you definitely can market for social live streaming and things like that, market it for the holidays now. You should have been marketing it, and just like Dan said, some of those companies are still wanting to do something to raise the morale. So, they might think about, oh, hey, I didn't think about doing something, virtually. Like, I mean, just like how we kind of did all the graduation parties virtually when that was happening and all the different things we kind of tried to do for that. That's a huge thing for holiday parties. I mean, do a turkey party for Thanksgiving. I mean, do whatever, market it however you want to market it.
And I think as right now, because of how everything's so upside down, politically and with the COVID situation, there's going to be some businesses and companies, I think, that are going to want a morale boosting type event of some sort in January and February. I think those times are getting. There's going to be something there. I have this feeling that it's not going to be doing a dance. It's not going to be doing this. But if you've got some ability, as you said, Shani, to be able to play, in that kind of pre-business meeting and to have a live DJ set there, or if you can help facilitate some of these meetings to make them go better, or to have, as they transition from one speaker to the other, that there's some music, whatever, being creative with the tools that are available to us, and to be able to build relationships with some businesses and say, hey, I can help you with these things and do some of these things. This might be that time to reach out, to try to open some doors, maybe not for any big paying events in 2021, but maybe, or later in the year, they might be having a company party that you could be on their radar for. And I think this is really 2021, I think, is going to be the year to do things to try to get back on the radar of people, keep on the radar of people, or get back on the radar of people, because it's probably not going to be our high paying year. That's just the way it's looking like. So now it's become, how do I get on the radar of people? And I think that's really, for the rest of the show, kind of let's look at that direction of how we've been there in the past, but now it's time to get back in front of them. I feel at times with this year off, it's like 100 years ago since I've seen some of these people, doesn't it?
So true.
Well, you can't just walk into places either. I mean, because either they're not there, or even if they are, it's like, no, I can't see you. Like I don't know who you are anymore. Like you had the plague.
Yeah. I do like to come, when I come through the door, I like to cough and snort and whew, is it hot? Are you guys hot? It feels so hot. Oh wait, no, now it's cold. It's really,
So off topic, and I'm totally going off topic right now. If you're somewhere and you're wearing your mask and you have to sneeze, do you pull your mask down or do you sneeze in your mask?
So I pulled down, sneezing.
Chat room. I want to know. This is so off topic. If you're, you're shopping somewhere where mask is mandatory, do you pull it up so you sneeze down and then you kind of dab with it, or do you just gangster and you sneeze in your mask? I really would love to know what people are doing.
See, my theory on this is how they tell you that it's not a good idea to sneeze into your shirt. You've heard that you should.
Yes.
So I try to find someone who's got a really nice shirt that I think will be filtered.
You sneeze in their shirt?
Yeah, I mean, they never said I couldn't.
So you are pulling your mask down to sneeze in their shirt. I just want to make sure that the mask is off when you do it.
Oh yeah, of course. Why would I want to get my mask dirty when they've got this nice shirt that looks like it'll filter stuff out?
It was just a random question. I was just wondering. We said we were going to give you some laughs today.
That actually was I think was at Sam's Club or somewhere, and it's like, I got a sneeze coming on, and I was the only one in the aisle, so it's like I've got Kleenex in my pocket, and it's like pull a Kleenex out and under the mask.
Yeah, see, that happened to me today, so I was just wondering what everybody's opinion was.
It's like it's like I'll sneeze into the Kleenex in the mask, and then the Kleenex will take the blunt, and then I'll put it back in my pocket.
So you put the Kleenex inside the mask?
What are you going to do?
Using the mask.
Yeah, but then the mask's all gross for the rest of the shopping trip, and I didn't want that. So I did that, put it back in my pocket, and I had my hand sanitizer in my pocket. And I pulled that out with the other hand, and then I could,
All right, so that was just our little.
See, Robin says it's good to sneeze in someone else's shirt. She says it right there, and if Robin says
she didn't say. She said good to sneeze in shirt. She didn't say somebody else's.
Oh, come on,
You're You're ad-libbing on the message.
Don't make Robin mad.
I'm sure she would. She because of time. She knows we have limited time. She didn't put into someone else's shirt.
But then she also wrote above that sneeze and mask.
I know what you're meaning, Robin. I'm there for you. Robin and I, we've got this. This is what we do. I mean, I'm looking at Dan's sweatshirt hoodie there. I mean, there's opportunity there. There's the hoodie part that it's just like this whole catching muffler-y thing, and then of course there's the oh my gosh, there's so many. Change your mask later. Exactly. Once you've used somebody else's sweatshirt a couple of times, then you can change your mask much later instead of having to change it right away. This was a good topic.
Anyways, okay, how are we staying relevant, people?
So yeah, so now we've got to get our name in front of people, and this is going to be for if you're, because to the point, yes, I've been doing this for 30 years, but there's a point of going into 2021. It's almost a level playing field with people who are just starting out in many ways, because the brides and grooms who are coming into planning weddings for 2022, they didn't see me last year. They didn't see anybody last year.
They didn't go to bridal shows.
They didn't go to bridal shows. They didn't exist. And they don't use Facebook, so Facebook ads aren't going to work for them. They don't pay attention to any ads that are on the sides of anything, so Google AdWords don't work. You basically got to get your name out there some way, shape, or form.
So obviously the very first, I would say leads are still coming in, at least for me. It's been weird in the past week. I've had more leads come in a week than I had in sometimes months. And not just COVID related, just period, like in general. They're still searching, and what I'm finding is that they're still doing the Google searching and stuff like that, but a lot of it's coming from vendors that are referring. So they're still reaching out. They're still doing that, or they're finding me in places where I have my reviews. I have my reviews on Wedding Wire. I have them on the Nod. I even have them on Google. So they're finding those reviews. And so what makes it kind of nice is when there's not really anybody that's gotten married in their circle for over a year. Sometimes the names kind of get a little distant from who they've been using. But what ends up happening is they see that reference, they see that referral. And I would say this right now, if you're not utilizing Instagram and you're not utilizing location tagging in Instagram, for the longest time, I'm just like, it doesn't work. Like I'm doing it wrong or something like that. It's just not working. It finally paid off for me last week. I had one on the 24th. It was a venue that I've been at a bunch of times. I'm on the referral list. Like it's awesome. Like I love working at this venue. I got a message maybe 3 days after I put up my my full post, and when they filled out my form, they said Instagram. I was like, that's kind of a first for somebody to put that as how they found me, and I reached out to them and I said, that's awesome. I said, did somebody refer you through that, or like did you follow somebody I tagged, or how did that happen? And they said, you were at the venue or something like that, and we followed the venue and we saw it because of that. And I went, oh, all right. That just reinforced what I got to be doing for the next little while. Right. But yeah, it was just one of those things where, using those types of keeping in touch is how they're going to find. Keeping those social media posts going, even if they're old, you don't have to tell them that it came from 4 years ago. As long as the styles are not extremely dated, make use of those throwbacks. Don't sort of call them throwbacks. And then I'm gonna grab something here behind me real quick. Hang on.
Sure. Do you think it's a Kleenex?
I had to grab the right book here.
You think it's a Kleenex? It could be a Kleenex.
A mask?
No, those
I don't
know. It could be a hanky. You remember hankies?
No, don't call this a Kleenex, or he's never going to come on the show again.
Hey, we know that guy.
So I took Alan Berg up on this offer, and Alan, this has been awesome. So this is the Shut Up and Sell More. There is the Disc Jockey edition. These are the stuff he just came out with. This is the catering and venue edition. I picked up I think 5 or 6 of them, and with the purpose of 3 specific venues I wanted to give them out to, and then a couple extras so that I had, if there was a new venue, I'd be like, hey, this is gonna be perfect. So basically what I do is I took them to some of my favorite venues. I reached out to them. Hey, are you going to be by the office at some time this week? Yeah, no problem. If I'm not, you can still leave it there. Perfect. You don't have to be there. I've got something for you. I wanted to thank you for all that you've done for me, for the leads you sent me lately. Or Alan even said, they don't necessarily want the chocolates anymore. So something that's going to help them make more money is what they want, especially in the light of everything that's going on. And it was surprising the number of them that I reached out to and was like, here, that my referrals went even higher.
Nice.
Like I'm on the referral list, but it was almost like, man, he just gave us something. We're going to make sure his name gets out for the next like 5, whatever. But it was just like, it took it to that next level. So finding something like that, or especially if it's a venue, that book, and taking it to them and be like, hey, you know what? I know times are tough. This guy, I've been following him for a while. I've listened to it. I've read his books. He knows what he's talking about. I think you would benefit from this as well. Check it out. And a secondary plug here is he's been saying that if you are in the U.S. and you are doing this, he will even sign them. So I even had it the three that I knew specifically who I wanted to go to. I had him personalize it.
Cool.
Why only in the U.S.? Why is he only signing U.S. ones?
I think because of how he's not only sending it in the U.S. but the personalization came from the U.S. So maybe he has to come from a different way when he ships it from overseas.
I know some European things I believe are being serviced with a different from a different location.
I just wondered.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
But I'm sure if you asked him, hey, because you're not from the U.S. and if you asked him, he might be able to be more specific on that. And
we're, I think you've been showing us, but Alan Berg is the person who wrote the book. I don't think you've mentioned his name.
Didn't I?
Yes, at the beginning, the very beginning,
okay,
when he held up the book.
Okay, so yes, Alan, and he's been on the show.
Yes, when you held up the book, you said Alan Berg.
Okay,
you might not have showed his name, but you definitely verbally.
Okay, he did say it. Okay, I was waiting. I don't remember.
No, you said his name in the beginning.
But yeah, that's a great gift to give. And what are they? They're $20 or so.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, I think technically if you buy one, it's 30, but by the time you buy like 5 or 6, he keeps dropping it when you buy him in bulk. So
yeah, so you
great
can buy,
gifts for colleagues. Just saying, the holidays are around the corner.
So your options are you spend $20 on a book from Alan Berg to give to them that'll build relationships that way,
and it can be personalized.
Or
if you're in the U.S.,
you can buy yourself a sweatshirt, a sneeze sweatshirt.
Like a DJNTV sneeze sweatshirt?
Oh, see,
those are worth too much.
That would be possible, but yeah,
because those don't exist.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get him to do hoodies for a while.
He has actually, he has, and it's like, but it'll mess up my hair.
I don't have the problem.
Yeah,
that's why I don't care.
Mess up my hair back.
I need someone to protect my cold head.
It'd be cold and messy up.
You look like every picture they put on the news when you do that, Dan.
Yeah, he's looking like he's gonna blow something up.
And that's
why I took it off as quick as I did.
You just drove off in the black SUV too.
Sad it's my SUV is. No.
So making some connections with venues and such that way is still working, obviously, from what you're experiencing. Using social media, you mentioned using Instagram and tagging the venue, but is there anything we can use in social media today that we can use to start from zero, or basically start from the ground, that we're going to start something and have it be somewhat successful in getting our name out there? Or have we passed that point?
Yeah, so within that idea, I watched a friend of mine do this, and she's a talented photographer, and the fact that her Instagram followers just exploded, and she wasn't tagging a bunch of venues or anything like that, but she was putting out quality content. I mean, that's the one thing that anybody who does anything in social media will tell you, and it's the one thing that I'm extremely horrible at, but it is putting out that content and quality content, and not a book of something, just something quick. And of course, with Instagram, you're going to have a picture. So making sure you're utilizing those right features and just catching attention, and using hashtags. I mean, that's one of the things that has caused my followership within my company to go, is because I started using hashtags that were catching more eyes. Now I know that some of them that I'm getting, they're following me because they want me to follow them back, because of who it is. And I'm like, I don't play that game.
Follow for follow.
Yeah, that's not happening. Sorry.
Like, I'm not, I don't play that game. Like, you either follow me because you want to watch my content, and yeah.
So definitely putting out the content and utilizing the pictures to grab the attention, and utilizing the stories and going with that. Shani, you're like the queen of social media, though, so I probably should just look at Shani and do what she does.
I Well, I'm going to do a shameless plug right now. And for those that did not see on the virtual expo, I did a big thing with John about staying relevant during all of this and how to keep your name out there with social media and just keeping yourself like me, if you're not working at all, basically staying relevant and letting people know like, hey, you can still book me. It might be 2021, it might be 2022, but you can still book me. So kind of going off the coattails of what you were talking about, I definitely was saying, put content out there. And it could be, and I said the exact same words that you said in my virtual talk. And I said, you don't have to call it a throwback. It doesn't have to be on Throwback Thursday. You don't have to call it a throwback, but definitely put a picture out and say, even though it's an older picture, you don't have to say when the year was, a party picture, and just write, can't wait to get back to doing what I love. And, saying something just very catchy, very, just to the point of where you want to say it, and tag everybody that was associated to that post on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever, on Twitter, wherever you're doing it, and tag those people, tag the venue, can't wait to see my friends at the blah, blah, blah hotel again. Tag those people, tag the photographer that took the picture, and what a great shot from so-and-so photography, and tag everything, because guess what? They're probably going to look at that picture once they see it, and they might even repost it. Mm-hmm. So they're not just taking it like, oh, let me go find it in my gallery. They're just going to do the easy thing. They're going to and this is what they're going to do, because we all like the easy way out. They're going to take the picture you did and they're going to repost it, whether it's in their story, whether it's on their repost Instagram. And then now your name is associated with it. So whoever follows them that don't follow you because of whatever reasons they're in a different category, now you might get some new like, hey, so-and-so starting to follow you, or this person looked at your pictures, or this person that, oh, hey, never heard of that DJ. Let me go through their content and see what it is. But if you haven't posted anything because, quote unquote, you're not doing any events, they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, they're not really posting anything. Like I said, who cares if it's from a year ago, 2 years ago? That's what I have to do right now. I don't have any events to post, so I'm just posting like, can't wait to get back to this. Oh, this was a great party. Oh, loved when I was able to put my arm around somebody. Like just little comments like that, and you just like Dan said, tag away. Do the hashtags, tag the people involved, do all that kind of stuff, because even if it's a couple, if it's people at the party, they might repost it as well. So get everybody involved in doing it and get yourself out there. And hopefully that kind of does that whole circle of like the telephone game. They grabbed it and then they grabbed it and they grabbed, hopefully it doesn't ruin the game of telephone. How we all know by the time it gets to the last person, it's nowhere near of what you said, but hopefully they just keep retagging everybody in it. So definitely do that, even though you're like, I don't know what to post. I don't know. Okay. Well then, you know what? Take a picture of yourself now. Go to your equipment, just take a picture of your equipment and be like, can't wait to use these babies soon. Just take anything. It could be a current picture like that of, oh, I miss using this speaker, and do whatever you need to do to just get yourself out there and get content. So that's what you need to do, is just stay relevant. So like John said, because now we're basically in the same category as these DJs that are now starting up. I had a kid actually hit me on Snapchat today whose party at bar mitzvah I did. He's in college, but he's home doing like remote learning at home. He just told me the controller he just bought. He was asking me about like sites to start getting music. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this kid's probably going to have more parties than me right now. Yeah. Cause he used to back then he used to just always hang by the DJ booth with whoever was spinning at the parties every week. And he always used to hang by us and ask us questions and everything. I'm like, this kid probably has more knowledge than all of us right now. I'm probably going to have to hit him up for jobs and be like,
that's where you hire him before you first
and that's exactly what I said to him. I'm like, dude, just so you know, when things like get back to semi-normal and we could be around each other, like if you're still home or when you're home from college, like whatever your schedule is at, I would love for you to be my assistant at an event and, throw you on the decks for a set and stuff like that. Yeah. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like now I'm competing with somebody like that who probably has more knowledge of social media than me. because they just know like all these other apps to put in the apps to make this cool thing and do that and do, and now he's got more followers than me because of all that reason. So how do I stay relevant with somebody like that I know is just starting out, that I know I have more talent, that I know I can, outdo him. And I'm not saying that to him. I hope he's not watching this.
Mm-hmm.
Love you.
You didn't say his name, so it's okay.
No. Okay, good.
If you're thinking that it's you that she's talking about, no, it's the other person that hit her up on Snapchat.
Yeah, it just so happened that two people hit me up on Snapchat today. 2 college kids hit me up on Snapchat. But, just stay relevant. Like I said, if you don't want to post some older pictures, then be that one day that you actually maybe put on like some real clothes from like the that I talked with John about, just from the waist up, and take a picture with your equipment, take a picture with your speakers, or, take a picture if you have an office, and if you still have an office, in front of your office, and just do a cute little, like, can't wait to see you guys, for, our first consultation, meeting soon. And just put out that content. It's simple. And there's filters if you don't look good. You can put filters on it if you have to. We can give Dan hair if we wanted to.
Excellent.
No, we're not playing that game.
Okay, so social media, we're getting towards the end. So there's still some opportunity in the social media world. If you creating content, creating fun, lighthearted, educational content, quality content, to build that audience and move forward with that. Reaching out, let's kind of wrap up with your thoughts on reaching out to new prospects, whether that be a venue you want to work with in the future, or to a corporate type client to which you would like to work for to do some events for. Is that a functioning thing to do at this day and age, or is it something that is just not the right time to be doing those types of reach outs?
Here's my thing. I think it's definitely the right time, because let's just say you're in a city, you're in a state, you're in a town where things all of a sudden open up. They're going to have that email. They're going to have that promo. They're going to have whatever that you just sent a month ago, 2 months ago. They're going to have something that you already sent them. They're going to be like, you know what? Let me backtrack and look at this. Right now, EPKs are great. Linktree, which are free. You don't even need to have somebody put an EPK. If I can do a Linktree, anyone can do a Linktree. You guys know me. This is the person that uses Union Text. Okay, this is the person when I started live streaming was just putting my phone on books and yelling into the camera. So if I could put a link tree together, anybody could do it. And you could have all your links on your link tree of your website, your promo, your this, your that, whatever you want to send them, and send an email and be like, hey, just thinking about you guys, hope everybody's staying safe, just, trying to just, let you know, like when things open back up again, I'm, definitely would love to work with you guys. If this is like a new venue or something, and if it's an old venue, hopefully during this time you updated your stuff. So then you can use that as a way in and be like, just wanted to send you, my new information. I mean, right now, as much as I love looking at stuff in my face and brochures and things like that, right now, people don't even want that on their desks that aren't working. They like to just have everything virtual. So sending those links and sending that kind of stuff right now is probably the best way to do it, and not saying like, oh, here, I'll drop this off or I'll send this in the mail, because you don't know where they're going to put it. Mm-hmm. You don't know, like right now with everything going on. Of course, in the future, I'm definitely not saying that that's not the way to go. But right now with everybody, you don't know if they're at the office yet. You don't know like if they're working from home, and then all of a sudden they're like, I think somebody gave me a brochure. I don't know if it's at my home office. I don't know if it's at the hotel. I don't know where I put it. I don't know if the kids went coloring on it. I don't know what's happening, but they can also go back to their emails and be like, oh yeah, Dan sent me that email that's got all his updated stuff. Let me click on that because somebody just called me and they were looking for a DJ for late 2021, and I can forward this to them, or I could give them Dan's information.
Sure.
So I think you like even I talked about this at the virtual expo. Reach out to those vendors, reach out to all these people, stay relevant, because you never know. Hopefully, and I'm hoping when things do open up again, that Like, you don't then want to reach out to these people when their phones are ringing off the hooks because their clients are trying to book stuff and everything. You want them to already have your information.
Yeah, I think if you're waiting for things to open, it's too late. Pure and simple. If you wait until, I really shouldn't do this. I'm gonna wait till things open. I'm gonna wait till we're allowed to have events there. If you wait till they're allowed to have events there, they're already gonna have that event there. And so your name is no longer going to be the first on the list. If it's a new venue, I think it's important to reach out now. We have a new one that opened up, and I went there. It's a brewery with like a little restaurant-ish type of counter place, and then they have a wedding venue in the back. I did not know the wedding venue was ready yet. Like, this is that new of a type of place. The brewery was the main focus here, and so went with some coworkers. We're hanging out. The owner comes over. He knows one of the people that I'm with, and we were talking. All of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, things are going great. In fact, I got to show the wedding venue here in a little bit." And I went, "Can I see it?" Like, no shame at all. Can I see it? I want to see it. Like, I heard about this. I want to see it. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I gotta go do something. I'll come right back. And he like came back like 5 minutes later. He's like, let's go. I went back, and I looked at the room, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, it was done. It was ready. It's humongous, bigger than anything in our area. And I said, you mind if I take some pictures? He's like, no. I was like, boom. I took a couple pictures, posted them, and I just posted them on Facebook. And I said, I can't wait to up like this. And I hoped I didn't tick him off with that part, because I was like, it's a beautiful venue, but it needs uplit. But I'm making connections with the idea that they want to do a showcase of some point there. And I want to be the person that they bring in to show off what is capable in that room as the DJ, if nothing else. And just because, it's making that connection. And here's the key. Here's the one key that if you did not take anything out of it tonight, besides the sneeze hoodie, is that to make sure what you're doing is beneficial to them. You're doing something to help them. That's going to get you light years of anything. That's going to get your name out. It's going to get your name to the forefront. Is what can you, again, it's like, we often say, what can you do for us? Well, listen, is what can you do for them? Because, whether it's the book, whether it's, I talked about this venue, and in fact, I was talking to a photographer friend of mine who says, like, hey, have you checked out this one yet? And I'm like, oh no, I haven't. And what they do is when they hear about the new venue as photographers, they call them up and say, hey, have you had anybody take pictures yet for your promotional stuff? And they're like, and they've gotten in like 3 or 4 different places and done the promotion stuff for them. And all they've asked for is, hey, can you just give us credit on the photos? And so here's this publicity stuff, and whose photos are there? Whose name is it? That photographer. And so if you're able to have that kind of type of push, now maybe not the photography, but the DJ aspect, it's going to make an impact.
That would.
And that's what we need.
Excellent. Oh, our time is up.
It went fast.
It did. It went. Well, it's because we got a really good topic right in the middle there that we had to hit and make sure that we covered that well.
Hashtag sneeze hoodie.
Hashtag sneeze hoodie. That's
but
right.
Is it sneeze with an E or sneeze with a Z and stop?
See, now you're getting too trendy.
Well, we need to know the right. We
can't make it go viral if we don't.
We need to know the right hashtag.
Yeah.
Because when I do my story now, I need to put the right hashtag on it.
It's got to be with an E, because we're not quite young and hip enough to be sneeze. With
4 Z's.
4 Z's and 2 E's.
Okay, so sneeze spelled correctly, hoodie.
Yeah.
Is the way. Okay, I just have to make sure I know what's up.
The important takeaways of tonight's show.
Yeah, screw trying to get your name out there right now. Make sure you spell sneeze hoodie right with the hashtag.
Hashtag sneeze hoodie.
Because that's going to get you the parties.
You never know. There might be a person out there that's like, I've always wanted a hoodie that I could sneeze into. The hoodie that you could eat the popcorn. It could double. That's that.
Eat the popcorn.
Yeah, you turn it around and you use the hood.
Oh yeah, you put it in the front.
Yeah,
okay.
Like a bowl, I guess.
Me, I just put real food in it with aluminum foil. So you know me.
And then you put it over and you have your aluminum foil hat.
Multi-purpose.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah, really quick. If I know Dave brought it up, I'm not like promoting myself right now, but if anybody really doesn't know what Linktree is, it's free. It's awesome. And like I said, if I can put one together in like 5 minutes, anybody else can. Go to my IG page, and my link is in my bio, so you see like how I set up. There's a whole bunch of other people that have it like that, or go to my business page. It's on there, and go to the website, and literally, I'm telling you, 5 minutes. If I could do it in 5 minutes, you guys could probably do it in 2 minutes. And it's an incredible PR move for you to just send people, and you could put whatever you on there. Like I have my Facebook business page on there. I have a promo video from YouTube for my parties on there. I have my Mixcloud mixes on there. I have like my Twitch on there, and you could change things up whenever you want and delete things and add things. Like I have my Twitch on there. There is a pro account if you want to add like some spicy stuff and things like that to it. But honestly, the free account is beautiful, and it's perfect for people like us right now if you don't want to spend any money.
So just real short for people who don't understand the idea of Linktree, on Instagram, you're only allowed to have one link.
Correct.
And so the idea is you have one link. When they click this link, it goes to a place where you have all these features. So whether it's the promo video, whether it's links to your other stuff, but it gives them one concise place then to find all the things. So rather than putting 5 links into Instagrams that you can't.
Right. So like I used to just have like during this pandemic right now, I used to just have like my Twitch link in there for like everybody go to my Twitch. But now my Twitch link is in my Linktree. So now I just have the Linktree, and then I had like my Facebook business page on there. And then sometimes I had I used to change it around, had like a promo video on there. But now I have the Linktree. So the minute you click on that, it goes to all the other links, and you can just get it. Linktree.
It's a tree of links.
Yeah. So it's a great free outlet for people like us that have all the different things that we want people to know. If you don't want to spend the money and put like a nice EPK together, this is awesome.
Electronic press kit.
Sorry, yes. EPK. Thank you, Dan.
EPK.
I got you back.
I thought that was a South Korean boy band.
I was thinking EKG, and we're doing Ghostbuster stuff, so it's okay.
Remember when I gave my thoughts when BTS first came out? Was it like 3 years ago? And I still kind of feel that way. I just want to let you know that.
That was a long time ago.
I still love your mama the way she did it. So
I know she was
take us home, Dan.
All right, so here's the deal. Tomorrow's tomorrow. So tomorrow you do what you do tomorrow, and the world will still evolve, and DJNTV will be back on Wednesday. Pure and simple, just to kind of let you know that. All right, but we are going to head out for tonight. Thank you very much for taking some time to join all of us. It was a pleasure to be a part of your night. DJNTV.com/chill if you want to still keep talking, or you got some extra tips that you want to share with each other. That is the place to go. We will see you next time. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.